Hi guys, that's Dorota Palicka, International Nail Artist and Educator here. And today we will do something a little bit different. This tutorial was requested, actually it was a question in one of your comments. Can you paint something else with the one stroke, not just the flowers? And I have decided to create those designs for you. Have a preview of it in here. Yes, that's what we will paint with the one stroke technique today, and I hope you will really enjoy. If you do, hit the share button so the others can see it as well. Let's start! Just preparing my tips, so buff the shine away, because when we're painting with the acrylic paints the shine needs to be away. And then once it's ready we can start painting the first design. So I wanted to show you, because you have guys asked me a lot if there is any other stuff you could paint with the one stroke, and yes, definitely you can. So I'm just squeezing the white acrylic paints, and white is a number 1. So white, and then I'm going to use some magenta and some pink. One stroke is super cool to paint, so I've got a drop of the water in there, and I'm using the brush which is a one stroke level 1. So I'm just picking up some water, shape my brush nice, and then we can start painting it. So on the higher point of my brush I want to pick up the pink and magenta, and then a drop of the white. Then mix that well. I want the colors to be really mixed together. Like, I don't want them to separate too much. I feel like one stroke is the nicest when the colors don't separate too much. Then we are going to paint, guess what? A wee unicorn. So I'm starting with the top part. Touch, touch. And then paint his head, going to the top. And then exactly the same like we have painted there, we are going to paint on the bottom. So touch it. And this way we have painted a unicorn head. Okay, I'm going to mix my paint again. And again, I want the colors to blend as much as possible. I don't want them to separate too much. And then we are going to paint the body of the unicorn. So start where the head is and paint almost like an letter S. And then opposite way. So white is going to touch the white. Then this is a nice and decent belly. Going to the neck. Okay, in this way we have painted the body of the unicorn. I can swap into the detail brush because I want the body part to dry. And I can start painting the horn. So when I'm painting with the fine brush, I like to have lots of water in there. And I'm just going to paint the horn. Inside the horn, we can do some white detail. And then we can also start painting the eye. So again, lots of water in. Make the eye quite decent. He starts to look cute. Let's squeeze out some black paint. We need just a tiny wee drop out of it. Give him a smile. And outline some parts. For outlining, I'm painting like lots of water in there. And then we can squeeze out some other colors. So I definitely want some blue. And I definitely want some purple. So white and blue. Mixed together. And then we are going to paint some hair because he doesn't look nice without of hairs. Okay, another hair. Make them nice and wavy. Add him something on the fringe, so very straight brush. And then swap for a purple. So clean the brush. I think painting with the one stroke is pretty quick once you know the technique. I do have like a very detailed training on the one stroke level 1, just so you could catch up the technique, but it's definitely a matter of practicing. So once you guys practice it well enough, you could basically paint it anything. Then some purple. A wee tiny purple in there. And you can see it, the unicorn starts to coming to the life. I want to also add some purple here on the part where his body is. So starting with the straight brush and then just give couple of the waves. Okay, so we've got some purple here. Clean the brush well, and then we can start adding the detail. I want also some tiny wee flowers there as well, because the details make a really big difference. So actually, let's swap it for another brush. So that's a 1 stroke level 2, and this one, you can see it guys, the size of those brushes. This one is much smaller, so I'm just going to swap for the smaller so we can paint smaller. Again, I want the colors to be very strongly mixed together, and I'm going to paint like a wee flower there. And then some purple one, or actually blue, make it blue. I will just swap the colors so I've got white inside. And another one. Once the paint is dry, you can go over it. We are going to add the black detail into the eye. So I get my brush nice and thin, like really nice and thin, hardly any paint in it. And then we are going to paint the detail. So very thin and then stronger because we're painting some eyelashes. He's having a cute eyelashes. Then the bottom part. Don't make the eye too closed. Also, let's paint one ear. Just in there. It's just sticking out from the hairs. See, my brush has dried out a little bit. So you need to clean the paint really well of it. I'm using the water. That's it. When we've got just a tiny amount of the paint dry out much quicker. That's a wee ear. I'm just blending this ear with the piece of hair we've got in there. Do the outline on the top. So the black again, hardly any paint in there. Really almost no paint. I have only wetted the brush a little bit. So I didn't even pick up any paint. Because if you've got so little paint, you can really keep the control of it. And this is much, much easier. Okay, we want also add some details. So let me swap. When you're painting with the one stroke, make sure you wet once sometimes your brushes. So like I not use this one, but I need to wet it because if I don't, it will just dry out. And then the dotting tool. So his eye is going to be maybe blue actually. So a very decent size of the eye. And just wait for it to dry, and then we'll put the detail in there. We also want to add some detail inside the flowers. So here in white, just a couple of the dots. They're very simple flowers. And then inside the blue one, some blue dots. Couple of the swirly bits, and I want them to be in pink. So lots of water in when we're painting with the fine brush. And just add a couple of the swirly bits. We could also make them blue as well. So lots of water. Just to fill up those space so everything looks much nicer. And then the detail in the eye. So this is dry now, so I can pick up the black. Do the black dot. Then wait for it to dry so we can add some sparkle. Then that's our unicorn finish. So I'm just picking up some white, very watery white, and adding some sparkle. You guys ask me often this question, do I prefer to paint with the gel or acrylic paints for a one stroke? I definitely prefer to paint with the acrylic paints, and the reason for it is, guys, you have seen it, I'm constantly painting, there is really no waiting time. But if you do paint with the gel, you would need to cure each layer. Like there is no way you could paint one part without of curing the previous part, because everything would just smudge. So personally, I find that the acrylic paints are much quicker for me, and I feel like you can get much thinner lines, like there is no gel in this entire planet which would give you such as thin lines like with the acrylic paints. Like I could go to the tiniest like dots and everything. They just behaves different. So I definitely do prefer acrylic paints for the one stroke. Okay, so I'm just adding the sparkling detail. Like even painting those dots, like, I mean, try to do it with the gel. Like I can assure you guys, like there is no way you could paint such a small dots with the gel. Like not a chance. So if I paint like really detailed picture, I would prefer to use the acrylic paints. And I think with the one stroke technique, for the amount of the detail we have put in, it was pretty quick, I would say. And that's the paints also already dry and ready for a top coat application. So look how much time we save, like curing in between those layers. And another thing which I love about one stroke is once we put the top coat over it, everything just pops out. So let me clean the here and there, and then we are going to apply the top coat through the entire design. And that's such a cute unicorn. Give it a cure. You can see it, how nice it is. And just so the unicorn doesn't feel lonely, we are going to paint quickly here as well. So we will go for, guess what? Maybe some beard for a change. Bird. Again, we will pick up, I want to keep the same kind of color, color-wise. So I'm going to pick up some white, magenta, blend it in. And you can see it also, this paint still got good consistency to paint. Again, I don't want the colors to separate extremely. I want them to kind of be separated, be almost more together, sorry. Okay, so we are painting a rounded shape on the bottom. And then the belly. Clean the brush. So it's like 1, 2. On the top, we are going to go for the blue. So I want the white to touch the white and then the blue to go on the top. And that's how I pick up. Usually the higher corner of your brush, that's the outside edge. Okay, mix the color well again. And then we are going to paint the top part. Okay, nice and rounded. And then the belly, the tail. So I want the tail to be nice and decent. One feather, second feather. If you don't like something, just go over it again. My paint is a little bit too dry, so I have put the drop of the water into it. Okay, we've got already pretty nice tail. And just do the same. What I like with the beards, you can give them like completely different different style tails depending on your mood. Join that in. And we also have to, what else we have to paint? We have to paint like some wings. So the wings are super cool to paint as well. And I want the wings to be purple. Let's do purple. So mix it well. And I've got one wing on the top. And then I've got one wing on the bottom. Okay, so this is our main wings, and we also want to decorate them as well. So I'm going to use a drop of the blue, but mainly purple. It's just I want some hint of the blue coming through it. And then decorate the wings. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's some feathers. And then feathers on the other one. Let's wet it. Straight brush. If you want to paint very thin, you need to have straight brush. Okay, and then we have added some feathers to the top part as well. Clean the brush and let's do the detail. So again, that looks pretty nice for the amount of the work we have put in there. We are going to paint some pig, so I need yellow. Drop of magenta, so we've got more orangey look. Blue, just so we can improve the shape of the head. Then the drop of the magenta on the bottom, again to improve the shape of the head. Join that in with the peak. And then we are going to paint some other details, so white. And then some black for the eye. Actually, let's use dotting tool. And then prolong it, like I want the eye shape to be longer. And then longer on the other side. And then a couple of the details. Just so the things match together with the other tip. then some sparkle because it's a magical thing. Sparkle in the eye. And then we've got another cute design with the bird. So we can also improve maybe the shape of the wings on the top as well. Let me do that. So the purple and the white. I show you the first one which we have done. So you can see it, they all go together, like totally go together. Gosh, my hands are dirty. So we've got the unicorn. And then I will quickly, like very quickly, paint third one because I don't like when there is only two tips. So I will paint quickly the third one, and this is going to be like the butterfly. So again, I will use the same colors just so everything is nice and magical. And we are going to go for white and magenta. Okay, join everything in. Go to the wing on the bottom. I love one stroke, like it's so quick. Tiny wee wing on the top. And basically we've got the butterfly in there. So let's do the body. I have picked up the black. Lots of water in my black. Clean the brush, hardly anything on this brush, because you want to paint small. So we've got antennas. Look how pigmented the acrylic paints are, and you can paint it for quite a long time with it. What happened there? The paint wasn't dry. If something like this happened to you, you can easily, because this was something you have guys asked me as well, what if you do the mistake? So if I do the mistake, I've got the baby wipes, and with the baby wipes I would just wipe it away, the mistake. And the part which is dry will stay, and the part which is wet, it will come off. So usually you have to do it the mistake, like fix the mistake very quick, so you don't wipe away the good parts. Okay, let's do more. I want the black to be visible because we want to put some white detail there. And the detail brush I'm using is a D-liner brush, guys. All the products are on our website. This is kind of very quick stuff. When I would paint like a very detailed work, I would be preparing my brushes more. Okay, let's just make it a few more detail. And again, what I love about the paints, look what I can do it. I can take lots of water, prep my brush, and I can go extremely thin. Clean the brush. Again, I wanted the things to go together. So what I'm missing of is some white and blue. You can see it how long we have been painting. Like obviously I'm doing all the tutorials kind of lifestyle. So you can see it how long I'm using the same paints and they're still okay to use. Guys, this is like such a quick splash of the colors imitating the flowers, but I think it's super cool. Like that you can just do like touch, and you've got something like ready, like a design. So same in here, it's just like little wiggle, touch, and you've got petal, wiggle, touch, and you've got another petal. That's why I love One Stroke so much. Okay, dry the brush. See, this brush already has dry too strong, so I need to water it. Ideally, I want to put the moist into all of my brushes so they don't dry, because this is quite damaging for the brushes. If you dry the acrylic paints, you would still clean it with the water, but you might need to sometimes use like a very warm water to be able to clean it. So it's better to don't let your brushes to dry out as much. Okay, just a couple of the swirly bits and then some dots and sparkles to finish our butterfly. So I've got some large dots and then I want to do the tones of the tiny wee ones. I normally do not recommend it doing the dots with the brush. If we want to be able to use the brush for like extreme detail, you wouldn't use it for a dotting tool. They are my kind of demo brushes, and to be honest, like I'm not fussy about them as much, but I wouldn't be painting like, I don't know, a face with it and eyelashes and an eye detail. I wouldn't be painting something very realistic with it because this brush, it just wouldn't behave nicely. It would take me some time to train it up and get it ready to paint nice. So like I train the brush up. I might show you that, guys, as well. That's another tip for you. You have to share this video for me, for all the informations I provide for you. So I'm preparing the brushes like cameraman is just like, ah, you can see it, okay. So I'm preparing the brushes, and it takes a really long time to prepare the brushes just to make sure you've got like a very thin and fine point. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to paint nice. Now, this paint is no use because it has already probably dry out on my brush. So if I want to paint it nice and thin, I pick up the fresh paint. Hardly any paint on it. Look how thin it is. And then I can paint nice and thin. I wanted just to show you how I prep the brushes as well. Okay, add the sparkle so everything goes together with our theme. And then we can top coat it. So let's top coat it, and I can show you the final look of this tutorial, which I hope you have guys really enjoy it. So top coat on our bird. I'm always terrible with this one. Got some dust particle, remove it. You don't want strange things going on your tip. And you also guys asked me, because obviously I'm reading all the questions you give me, what I do with all these tips once I finish painting. So I've got some display cases, and then I just put them into the display case and I store them. I store them all in a wardrobe. So let's top coat the butterfly, so nice and pretty. Click it in, and then I can show you all of what we have created today. So don't forget, clean your brushes nice and well with the water, then just dry them out just so they're ready for the next painting. I also, for the one stroke brushes, I like to squeeze them in between the fingers so they're nice and flat. Okay, you don't want them to be hungry. You want them to be nice and flat so they don't open. And this one especially, lots of water in. Lots of water in. Shape the brush, like always when you finish the painting, shape your brushes so you can see it. Now it's shaped, but also because we have been painting the dots. Can you see the tip? I'm not sure if the camera can zoom it. Can you see the tip of the brush is broken? Can you see it? It's not as sharp and it's not as straight. Look, maybe there, like just the tip of the brush doesn't come up straight. So that's mean. Not really. I would need to like kind of
we will see more.
like roll to the side. I can see it. It is like, I mean, hardly visible, but it doesn't. Can you see the tip?
Bent.
Yeah, it's bent here. Okay, now you can see it even more. That's because I have been painting dots. And if you've got the brush bent like this, you cannot get it to the precision. So sometimes we are damaging the brushes on our own. We shouldn't be using for this kind of motion because look what is happening with your tip. It just breaks. So I don't use it as much. Like you can go at the angles and all different ways. You could retrain your brush. Like it takes some time, but you could retrain your brush to straighten this tip. But it's a quite time-consuming process, and keep that in mind, guys, when you're using your tools. Okay, so we've got the bird in here. Let's put him. I need to put unicorn, the bird, and then the butterfly. Gosh, look at my hands. But the paint comes off really easy. But that's what we have painted today. So one stroke, but not flowers. And I hope you have guys really enjoyed this cute tutorial. I'm sending you lots of glittery hugs and bye for now.